Philadelphia's own Seth Joyner and Artie Clear.
Welcome here to the Eagles Report Card down at the South Philly Bar and Grill. My partner Seth Joyner, special guest, offensive line coach Trey Thomas is with us tonight. Trey, how you doing? Welcome to the show.
I'm doing good, feeling good. You know, I haven't gone to sleep yet. I've been watching film all day, all night. You know, just playing the stuff back over my head. But you know, it's been good. It's been a good run.
A great victory last night for the Philadelphia Eagles. Get the 5-5 against the Green Bay Packers. That offensive line played pretty good.
Yeah. You can tell like we're starting to pull it together. Guys are starting to play together a little bit more. You know, the offensive line always takes a little bit longer to gel. You know, just because you need to be able to trust each other and know where that other person is going to be. So you're starting to see that it's starting to click a little bit. You know, protection is definitely getting a lot better. We're starting to figure out our lanes when it's coming to running and opening up holes for Shady and on the other backs. So we'll see.
What do you think has been the biggest adjustment for the offensive line up until this point, Chip Kelly's new offense?
I think just getting used to being around each other, knowing where that other person is going to be, and just just continuing to gel. You know, this is the first time that this offensive line has pretty much been together. You know, you had Kelsey go down last year. Jason Peters was out last year. You know, Todd got hurt. You know, so this is the first time that you get these guys rolling again and having a full off season to get themselves together. So you know, it's what's expected right now. It was going to take a little time for them to start gelling, and you can see that it's starting to click now.
Seth, with Nick Foles being the quarterback right now and had another banner day for the Philadelphia Eagles with the 3 touchdown passes, 16 without an interception. Comment on Nick Foles in yesterday's game against the Green Bay Packers.
Well, I mean, I don't think that you can argue with what Nick Foles has been able to do over the last couple of weeks. I mean, just 16 touchdowns and 0 interceptions over that span of time is just remarkable. There's only been one other quarterback, Peyton Manning, who's ever accomplished what he's accomplished. The question mark is still out there, and you can question all you want right now, but as long as Nick Foles continues to play the way he's been playing, I think Philadelphia may have his quarterback, you know, for the rest of the year. I mean, I think he's earned the right, barring injury, to finish the season, and let's figure out whether this guy can be a quarterback into the future or not for this football team.
I agree. Trey, the question for you is, do they have to block different for Nick Foles if it was Nick Foles in there versus a Michael Vick, or is it protection schemes, or all the schemes the same?
The protection schemes are all the same. You know, it's just a little different when you have someone that's gonna run, that has that run threat. Just because sometimes you don't know where the quarterback is going to be. So you know, anytime you have an athletic quarterback like that, like a Michael Vick, you just tell them if it's not there, just get north and south. Don't get that back there and start dancing around, because then I can't really protect you. But if I know that you're going to get north, then I can try to run the guys by you. You know, and then that makes it a lot easier for us.
As a former offensive lineman, now, do you prefer blocking for a guy that you know where he's going to be, or that guy that's unpredictable like a Michael Vick or a Donovan McNabb?
Well, even we still should know where they're going to be, but then too, like I like having that athletic quarterback back there, because sometimes, you know, if we get beat, you know, you need somebody that can get up there and make a big play out of nothing. So having that run ability really does help.
I thought the Eagles' offensive line, when Peters went down, they picked it up a little bit in that Green Bay Packer game on Sunday. And the Barbary, the fellow that came in to place Peter, did a wonderful job for the Philadelphia Eagles, and they just rushed the ball beautiful. McCoy had 25 rushes, 155 yards, his 4th best game of his career. So, Seth, they did what exactly you wanted them to do.
Well,
a balanced team with running with passing and running, they were balanced.
Well, they were more than balanced. I mean, they were more slanted towards the run side. I think Shady had 25 carries. I believe Bryce Brown had 4, and Nick Foles probably had 8 carries. And I think Nick only put the ball in the air 18 times. Now, that's an efficient offense. When you see an offense run the ball 30-plus times and then they turn around and they only throw it under 20 times, you know, that's and to be able to put up the kind of points and create the kind of big plays that they did, that's the kind of offensive production that you'd like to see. I don't want to see Nick Foles have to throw the ball 35, 40 times. I'd rather us run the ball 35, 40 times, see him throw the ball 20, 25 times, and if he can still have the kind of production, 3 touchdown passes, and still we can get it done on the ground as well, now we got balance and we can keep the defenses off balance.
Without a doubt. Trey, what do you think about Riley Cooper and his emergence as the wide receiver? 7 touchdown catches there, leads the team in touchdowns. What do you think of his play so far this year?
Oh, he's been doing a really good job. He runs really good routes. You know, he's a big body, and he's quick enough to get open and create some separation. So he's definitely everything that he should be. And, you know, Riley surprised you with his speed every now and then, where he can get up there and get upfield. So he's definitely one of those guys that's easy to find out there, and then he just makes plays. Yeah.
Seth, what do you think of Riley Cooper's play this year so far? In the beginning, he wasn't doing so good with Vic in there, but when Nick Foles gets in there, it's a completely different story.
Well, like I said, early in the year, I was pretty critical of the fact that the Eagles didn't go out and get a real number 2 wide receiver, bring in another guy to compete at that position. I mean, he went through the first, I want to say 3 or 4 games he was averaging 1 catch a game. Now all of a sudden enter Nick Foles, and yeah, they have a rapport that probably wasn't there with Michael Vick, because Michael Vick is the starting quarterback. He's taking reps with the starting wide receivers. Nick Foles is probably a guy that was probably the show team quarterback, working more with Riley Cooper, so they have more of a rapport than Michael Vick and Riley Cooper might have had. That being said, Nick Foles looks for him on a continuous basis. I think teams have disrespected him because they probably looked at him and felt like, we can put our number 2 cornerback on him and just lock him up man to man. But like Trey alluded to, he's got deceptive speed. He's a big body, and him and Nick Foles are really on the same page. They're vibing together, and it's making a big difference. I mean, this guy is just playing some phenomenal football right now. You look at him, and I'm scratching my head, because I'm like, this guy couldn't play dead on my football team the first 3 games of the season, and then the last 3 or 4 games of the season, I'm like, you know what? Hey, sign me up. He's a legitimate number 2 with the numbers that he's posted.
I really like it, his play. Going over to the defensive side, luckily we have offense and defense on our show tonight. Trey Thomas here, along with Seth, Joyner, myself, Artie at the South Philly Bar and Grill in the heart of South Philadelphia. On defense, a couple guys get hurt. Kendricks go down. Earl Wolf, the safety, goes down. Plug 2 guys in there. They didn't lose a step, Seth. They got some depth this year. What do you think about the defense? How do you think they played last night?
Well, I think the defenses continue to get better and better. Like I said earlier in the year, I really felt like that the defense might be the Achilles heels, with the offensive line back and intact. All the guys that were injured last year back and healthy this year. I expected for the offense to play well. I expected for the defense to, experience some trepidation and really, really struggle throughout the year, to have some highs and lows. But my goodness, the last 4 weeks, they have really found their stride. They are holding teams, like you said, to 17 points a game, 99 yards rushing. The Green Bay Packers had in the game on Sunday. They're just playing good ball. DeMeco Ryans has really emerged as the leader of this defense. 12 to 15 tackles yesterday, his second interception. You lose Michael Kendricks. I think at one point in time, that's going to come back to haunt them a little bit, because he's such a big part of what they do. But they found a way to get it done yesterday. Now, those guys that stepped in and fulfilled their roles in Sunday's game, they've got to continue to do it until we can get Michael Kendricks back on the field.
He's a good player. Michael Kendricks did a wonderful job. Who's playing good on the defense, and we hardly mention his name because the secondary's brand new with Williams and Bradley Fletcher, but I really like the play of Nate Allen, what he's been doing lately. I think DeMeco Ryans is the leader of that defense, and I think Nate Allen's right behind him. Now, my question for you, Trey, because you're an offensive line coach with them, how's the locker room, and is DeMeco Ryans and Nate Allen the leaders on defense?
Yeah, I think so. That pretty much sums it up for that the defensive front. Those guys are definitely the leaders on that side of the ball, and you can just tell, they come in and they're ready to work, and they're not a big vocal crew, but they're leading more by the work the body of work that they're putting in. Making sure that they're doing everything that the coaches are asking of them, making sure that they're getting all their weight room stuff in, doing all the off-field stuff that has to go on, and showing leadership in that way. So I think they're definitely doing what it takes to make sure that the defense is successful.
Number 59, Seth, leading that defense. Does that number ring a bell to you?
Hey, he's wearing it well. He's wearing it well.
You're proud of him?
Hey, there's only been one time throughout the year, where I was, kind of shaking my head a little bit. He got shook in one game, got his ankle broken. I'm like, that doesn't happen to the old 59. But hey, listen. I mean, the guy's averaging double-digit tackles over the last 3 or 4 weeks. He's stepping up, and you know what? Hey, I'm proud to have him wearing my number. Proud to have him wearing my number.
He's playing great. And 72 is Thornton is playing real good for the Eagles too. That's your old number.
Yeah.
Sooner or later, we're going to take 72 and 59 and put them up in the rafters where they really belong. Listen to the report card here, the Eagles report card. Our special guest this week is Trey Thomas, Seth Joyner, and myself, Artie Clear. We'll be back after these messages to talk more about the Philadelphia Eagles.
Welcome to South Philly Bar and Grill, your home for everything Philly sports. Voted best sports bar in Philadelphia since 2009 and named top 10 in America. Located at Philly's most famous intersection, 9th and Passyunk, between world-famous Pat's and Geno's. At South Philly Bar and Grill, we got our game on for you. Our menu offers everything from hand-tossed pizzas to seafood. Join us Monday nights for Seth Joyner and Artie The Eagles Report Card, filmed live. And for all Eagles, Flyers, Sixers, and Phillies action, we offer a charged atmosphere and daily food and drink specials. SPBG, fantastic sports and great food with a Philly attitude. Check us out, www.southphillybar.com.
Welcome back here to the Eagles Report Card here with Trey Thomas, our special guest. Number 59, Seth Joyner, linebacker from the Philadelphia Eagles, here in the South Philly Bar and Grill down in the heart of South Philadelphia. Time for the grades, my man. Another beautiful day in Philadelphia. Well, not in Green Bay for the Eagles, but let's grade the offense, the defense, and the offensive line. Where do you want to start?
Well, we can start with the quarterback. I mean, obviously, Nick Foles has been playing lights-out football. 12 of 18, 228 yards, 3 touchdown passes. I mean, every week it seems like I'm giving this guy an A, an A+. I give him an A again. Offensive line, hey, anytime that you can complete, upwards of almost 75 to 80% of your passes, and 3 of those, for touchdowns, hey, the offensive line has done something correct. And then you throw into the mix Shady, 25 rushes, for 150 plus yards as well. Offensively, they just played lights out football. And when you combine all of those elements together, I say, A+ for the offense.
Okay, now let's go to the defense. And they had a couple players hurt and some fill-ins coming here. Wolf and Kendrick got knocked out of the game pretty early. How do you grade the defense?
Well, I mean, I give them an A as well. You have to take into consideration that the Green Bay Packers got down to their 3rd quarterback. That being said, the only thing you can do is show up and play the guys that they can put on the field and show up and play the team that you're designated to play. But they've been playing some good football as well lately. Their leaders are stepping up, getting it done. They're making plays where they have to make plays. And this football team overall is moving in a positive direction. I give the defense an A as well.
And that will leave us with the special teams. Once again, no harm, no foul with the special teams. They're solid as a rock.
No harm, no foul. I give them an A because, they didn't take away anything. They didn't add anything. When you factor that in, if they don't affect the game in any negative way, more than the positive way, then you know what, hey, it's an A across the board.
Second week in a row, they all get A's. I think the Eagles are hitting their stride and playing real good. Trey, you're out in Medford, New Jersey with the nice little personal training thing you got down there, 7 Deuce Sports, as personal trainer at 175 Route 70 in Medford, New Jersey, 609-953-7272. So tell us about your place down there.
Well, we do a little bit of everything. We do adult fitness. We also offer kids classes from 9 to 12-year-olds. And then we also have our high school group, which is called Frontline Gladiators. And for them to be in that program, they have to go through a certain type of workout. They have to start out with a trainee shirt. They have to have their GPA above a 3.0. They have to volunteer. They have 2 areas that they have to come and volunteer every year where we go out and do some stuff within the community. So it's just a lot of little different things that we're doing for the high school athletes just to get them going and getting them involved in the community and helping them stay accountable and just showing their grades also and just trying to focus on that side of it also.
How long has your place been open?
We're going on 3 years now.
God bless you.
Yeah, so it's been going well. It's been a lot of fun. We've trained a lot of different people. We've had probably about 5 guys right now that I've trained personally that's in the league right now that went from rookies to up to the pro level.
Nice.
So and then now we're expecting probably another 5 or 6 to come in this offseason for me to get ready to get going probably like right within the next month or so.
Wonderful. You work with the kids also, Seth, so you must love what Trey's doing down there. I like the 3.0 GPA.
Yeah.
I think that's really important, especially for the young kid. And being a mentor, I think that's very important also.
Well, what I like is the accountability, man. I applaud you because I think a lot of times we try to help kids better themselves, but when you create the accountability thing, it's like, with my kids, I tell them all the time, you're not making your grades, you can't play. If your parents come to me and tell me that, you're doing things that are out of line, you can't play. That's just the way it is. To be able to play sports is a privilege. your responsibilities and what you're supposed to be doing is doing right in school, listening to your parents, and doing right in your community. If you can't do those things, then the privilege of being able to play sports, those things aren't available to you. So I applaud your program, not only for what you're doing physically for them, but what you're doing psychologically for them as well.
Thank you.
I do too. I think that's a wonderful job you're doing there. Just keep up the great work, and hopefully your place will be open more and more, and you'll get more and more kids down there. Wonderful, wonderful job.
Thank you.
We return after this message. We'll talk about the Washington Redskins game. They're at home. They're tied with Dallas right now at 5-5. So right now they're in first place. After these messages, talk about the Redskins in the Lincoln Financial this coming Sunday. Hello, everybody. Let me tell you about our friends at Tri-State Creations, one of our sponsors for Joyner and Clear. They have custom-made thermal insulated windows. Let me demonstrate this window for everybody so they know what they can get. Easy to clean. Unlock it, take it up top, pop. Here comes the bottom sash. Go to the top, same thing. Easy to clean. Top and bottom from the inside of your home. They're custom-made for the exact opening you have right now. They're fused welded windows, argon gas, all thermal insulated glass. Guaranteed to save you at least 35% on your fuel savings yearly. Call 888-990-8886. Tell them you heard it here on Joyner and Clear and save 15%. They'll come out and give you a free presentation on no obligation to yourself. Also sponsored through the HUD people and the FHA. Once again, tell them you heard it from Joyner and Clear. 1-888-990-8886 is their number for all your home improvement needs. You need to call Tri-State Creations in Conshohocken, PA.
Welcome back to the Eagles Report Card, here with Artie Clear. Trey Thomas, our special guest tonight. We're moving into the segment of the show we previewed the upcoming game against the Washington Redskins. I felt all along that this game would be a very, very important game in the schedule for the Philadelphia Eagles. Being where they sit and where they were, their victory last week, and where the Dallas Cowboys sit now. Trey, what do you think the keys of the game for you guys coming out with the victory next week?
Well, of course, you got to take care of the defensive line that they have with Iraq, Poe, Carrion, and Copperfield. Those guys right there can really create some havoc on the defensive line. So we got to make sure that we go out and protect, and we open up those same lanes like we've been doing in the past couple of weeks. So we just need to make sure that we, as just an offensive line, that we go out there and protect and then open up lanes for the run game.
I think that the Washington game is a gigantic game for the Philadelphia Eagles right now because there's two things. Number one, they can stay in first place if they win. They can't get knocked out. And number two is because they have that 10-game losing streak at home. I think they got to get the monkey off their back. And this is probably the biggest game of the year. I was looking past the Packer game at 5-5 right now. I think this is the biggest game of the year for the Philadelphia Eagles. And hopefully, if that defense can play like it did so far, that could have a good chance to win in that game.
Yeah.
Well, now you know the Eagles are going to be motivated. Well, the Redskins, I should say, should be motivated after week one. The way we went down there and lit them up in the first half, we kind of limped out with the W, but at the end of the day, we really kind of splashed on the scene game one of the beginning of the season. Washington seems to be hitting their stride. They hit a little snag last week, with Minnesota. But at some point in time, now you get in these interdivision games, the Washington Redskins do not feel like they're completely out of this race, so to speak. So as you look at them offensively, from last week, you see what RG3 has been able to do. He's been coming along substantially from game one to where they are now. What do you think on the Washington side, that they're going to have to do to be able to come out with the victory?
Well, first of all, they're going to have to stop Nick Foles and LaShawn McCoy because McCoy, as you alluded to, Washington, Minnesota tore him up, put a lot of points on them. So as well as the offensive for Washington, their defense is poor.
Right.
So I think that the Philadelphia Eagles, if they can run the ball, and Foles plays one of those games, not gaudy numbers, but no turnovers or nothing like that, manage the game like it's supposed to, I think the Eagles can finally break their streak and get over the hump and get a win in here, and then that will give them renewed confidence at home. Trey, how much confidence are they lacking at home because they lost 10 in a row? That must be something that is annoying the team at this point.
It's just a lot of pressure, where you just feel like everybody wants to just make sure that they could go out and I think this is like even our last home game. I think that it was just the pressure that got to us where you wanted to do such a good job that you end up just not doing well, and that happens. It's just sometimes you just need to relax and just go play your game and just let it take care of itself. But I think everybody's going to come in prepared. Just coming out of this Green Bay game, I think everybody still is riding pretty high off of that one. So hopefully we'll keep that momentum going and just get ready for the next one.
That's wonderful. I love the mode right now. They're starting to really. I'm excited for them. They're playing. They're gelling. Everything is going good for them. All those bad breaks we got last year, we're getting some of those breaks our way this year, and things are really turning out to be good. How's the spirit of a Michael Vick? I know him and Nick Foles are really close to one another. How's the spirit of Michael Vick rooting his teammates on right now?
Oh, he's good. He's just like any other athlete that's been injured. That you're there to support you guys and you're there to just kind of help out as much as possible. And that's pretty much it. He's definitely always into practice, and is very in tune in what's going on in the game. So he's all in.
Seth, I want to ask you this question. Coach Chip Kelly, now he has 10 games underneath his belt. How much do you think he's progressed from game one until right now?
Well, I think he's coming a long way. I mean, I had a little Twitter battle going on with some guys, over the weekend, and a lot of guys are questioning the Chip Kelly hire. And I said, listen, the guy's it's a learning curve for him as well. I mean, he's never coached at the pro level. He's got some pro coaches surrounding him. He's got some players that's played the game around him. But, you take into consideration some of the mistakes that he made earlier in the year, the timeouts, not knowing the rules about just calling a timeout and being able to put Michael Vick back in the game. Those types of things have been learning experiences for him, and that will make him a better coach as the season continues to progress and into the future. But I think, he's had to make some adjustments. When I look at the offense, the way he calls plays, he's made some adjustments. I think that the route running, the plays that he's called as far as the routes are concerned, are much more diagrammed to take advantage of defenses and the way that they're trying to defense the team. I think he's progressing nicely. The guy's got a phenomenal mind. He is an offensive guru, and he'll get it. But he's no different than any other coach or any other player for that matter. When you come into a new environment, to a new situation, it takes some time to learn your way around it.
I want to ask you guys a question. It's been all over the sites, the Facebook, the newspapers, about booing the Eagles at home. I'm saying to myself, if you played better, maybe they wouldn't boo that. But you got to remember one thing, Deshaun, you're playing in Philadelphia.
Right.
We boo Santa Claus. So I think myself personally is that I don't think they should boo him at all, because that put more pressure on them. I think they should let the game play out and try to be energetic and emotional and passionate for the Philadelphia Eagles, and that might help them take a little bit of pressure off of them. What do you guys think about that?
It's whatever. If you go out there and play garbage, what you expect? That's what's going to
Wednesday.
happen. You're going to get booed, and even when we go to other teams and we're beating the home teams, they get booed also. So, it's not just here. But, coming to Philly, you have to understand you can't have thin skin as a player here. You have to know what city you're playing for and know that that the fans expect for you to go out there, and they expect for you to play hard, and they expect for you to go out there and give it your all. And if they don't see that, then they're going to let you know. So,
Well, listen, our fans reserve the right, because they spend a lot of money to come into that stadium and watch us play every Sunday. Okay, and if they're not getting what they want, I played here for 13 years. And I've seen the good times, I've seen some bad times. And to be honest with you, there are no more faithful and loyal fans than the Philadelphia Eagle fans, okay? If they're booing you, you probably deserve it.
Yeah.
Plain and simple. If you don't want to be booed, then go out and do what you're supposed to do. But I mean, it's kind of the nature right now of today's player, that I'm thin-skinned. I'm sensitive to the fact that, the fans are booing me. Seriously? When I played, the only thing I ever heard were the cheers. When you did something good, I heard the cheers, the boos, and all that other stuff. You kind of lock out because I'm so focused on what I'm supposed to do. Maybe guys need to focus their attention on what they're doing on the field, and if they take care of their business on the field, they don't have to worry about the fans booing them in the stands. And just to segue, Trey, we got this thing going on now down in Miami with Rich Incognito and Jonathan Martin. I had my rant last week. I'm not going to rant this week. But I do want to, I realize that you're a coach and there's a limit to the things that you can talk about. But I just want your perspective on what's going on down there.
I don't know. You hear a lot of different stories that's going out. But at some point, as an offensive lineman, I just think that you need to be able to hold your own.
Right.
And that's just being mano a mano. You have to be able to hold your own. And if not, then maybe this isn't the game for you. And I think that now reading into some of the text messages and everything else, there were some things that were said that if something should have risen up in you to go and handle that. And then if you go and handle that, then it's not a problem. You know, I'm pretty sure that everything gets squashed real quick,
Right.
you know, instead of it lingering on. And, you know, I just think that Martin just wasn't that, he didn't have that type of background to step to someone like an incognito.
Right. Well, you know, I'm conflicted, okay? I'm not going to rant, but I'm going to talk a little bit about it. I'm conflicted because there's two aspects to this. There is the side of being a football player, and then there's the other side of, you know, the humanistic side that everyone wants to identify with. There are certain things that you don't say. There are certain lines that you don't cross. Now, I can separate that from the sport. I can separate that from the locker room, from the game. But when it comes to the other side, the football aspect of it, okay, we're all grown men. You know, I heard in an interview where someone asked the owner about being able to police the locker room. Well, you know, when I played, we policed the locker room. You had leaders in the locker room, and we're grown men. You're not talking about, you know, kids that need chaperones. We're grown men. So from the standpoint of Richie Incognito stepping over the line, yes, he was out of line. He should be dealt with, and he should be punished for that. But the other aspect of it, the bullying, the abuse, you know, that people want to make such a big deal about, okay? Again, when are you going to stand up and be a man and stand up for yourself? You know, and if you take care of that, then maybe some of the other stuff kind of takes care of itself, because you know the old saying, you give a guy a rope, he wants to be a cowboy. He will stretch the limits if he can.
Give him an inch, he'll take a foot. Give him
Absolutely.
a foot, he'll take a yard.
Yeah.
So you have to deal with those bullies, and maybe smack him in his mouth, and he would stop bullying you or something like that. But just to keep on taking it day in and day out, that's just too much. And I just don't think that was right that he was doing that. And you're right, there is two aspects of it, and it's really a touchy subject, to be honest. So, you know, it's a lot of, because of social networks that we have right now, it's all over the place. I'm sure if this was 1975, we might not know about this for 6 months until it really flourished. But now you find out every 15 seconds,
Right.
It's going on and it's going on. So, myself personally, I think that I didn't like the personal side of it when he was talking about his family and his kids and all that. That, you know, you can't talk about family. That's just wrong. But in a football sense, he needed to be tough for Jonathan Martin, and he didn't. So who knows what's going to happen with that situation. Well, I want to thank everybody for coming out to see us here in the South Philly Bar and Grill in the heart of South Philadelphia. We'll see you next week. Trey, thanks so much for joining us on the show.
Appreciate it.
It's really been a pleasure. And hopefully, again, we'll have you here again. But you're doing a great job with the Philadelphia Eagles, and keep up the great work as well as the Philadelphia Eagles.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.